Good evening, guys. It's great to have you. My name is Erik. I'm from Holland. Been in Ireland for 2 years, so just bear with me. My English is probably not perfect, but I hope we get along tonight. We're going to do a talk on emotional abuse. I'm a bit groggy. I went to the dentist, and you probably know for yourself that those are not the most wanted visits, right? You want to do. So we have some people joining in on Zoom tonight. Welcome, guys. I see Alan Gruddy, great to have you. Claire Kearns, great to have you. Grace Kwaku, I suppose. Nice name. Kyle McClelland. Well, Kyle, you never miss one webinar, I see. We're also on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. I think we're even on Pinterest and not okay. Well, anyway, so let's get to know each other a little bit. That would be nice. Maybe you want to pop in the chat where you're from and why particularly you're here tonight joining this webinar. I got my laptop right here in front of me, so I can actually see any comments during the webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. The whole idea is that we're going to cover a part of the mind, we're going to cover a part of human behavior, and then we're actually going to, if we are good in time, have a look at how to handle certain people in your life. It's going to be an interesting topic with very, very interesting information. I'm going to show you the materials that I'm using for the webinar. So Kyle, you are from Northern Ireland. Okay, fantastic. I'm actually about to come over to Northern Ireland next weekend. Grace, you're from Canada. Okay, fantastic. All right. I just had a second thought there. Kwaku, maybe African origin. Alan, you're from Galway. Okay, fantastic. Actually, I would love to go to Galway. Still haven't been there in the 2 years that I've been in Ireland. But it's got such a reputation, right? Yeah, I definitely need to go. Okay, you're from Ivory Coast. Great. Okay, so you speak both French and English, I suppose, right? Lovely, guys. Nice to meet you. Lovely to have you. Okay, so normally during the webinars, I have a lot of questions, and these questions are simply there with the purpose to make things a little bit more insightful, right? It also becomes a bit interactive that way. We have a bit of communication going back and forth, which is very nice. So now that I know where you're from, so like I said, I'm from Holland. I'm 56 years old. Been in Ireland for about 2 years now. Did a lot of traveling, lived in Latin America, Caribbean, various European countries. Always on the move, a bit of a pirate kind of attitude. I like that kind of freedom. And one of the things I really like is to share information, especially if it's something that's helpful. That is something that you can use to help yourself, but you can also use to help others. I absolutely love sharing that stuff. So my first question for you tonight, since we're going to be talking about emotional abuse, now, have you ever wondered why people behave the way they do? Have you ever wondered about it? Have you ever wondered, like, gosh, why am I constantly under attack? What am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? Or is something wrong with my associate, my partner? Have you ever wondered why a person acts the way he or she does? Kyle, yes? Okay, thank you very much. Grace, all the time. All right, thank you. Anybody else? Alan, absolutely. All right, good. Yeah, and probably, if you're a social person, I'm gonna have a look at that tonight with you guys. But if you're a social person, you probably reflected on yourself and you probably go like, am I doing something wrong here, right? which is kind of like an introversion into your own thoughts, finding fault with yourself, making yourself wrong, and all kinds of other things that could actually happen as a result. So we're going to have a look at that. Now, the first thing I want to do with you guys is just to simplify things a little bit. Whatever kind of behavior we're studying or observing, looking at, right? It always has something to do with the mind. So now, it's probably very, very clear to you that the mind is full of memories. Okay, so let's actually try to get one. And my first question to you is, can you remember primary school? Can you remember primary school? Perhaps try to get a picture of, for example, the playground, the courtyard. Maybe you can see its dimensions, how big it is or how small it is. Maybe you can see the fencing. Maybe it was just fenced by bushes or by trees. Maybe you can actually see the entrance or the exit where you would come in or go. Maybe you get another picture. Maybe you get a picture of, let's say, the school building, or maybe one of the classrooms, maybe one of the teachers. So here's my question. So I just asked you to recall primary school. Now, who of you guys actually saw some pictures? That's my next question to you. Who of you guys actually saw some pictures? Maybe a picture of the classroom, picture of the playground, the courtyard, the entrance, the exit. Kyle, all right. Thank you very much. Yes, and smelled the school also. Oh, nice. You even picked up a smell. Okay, that's great. Yes, the lockers. All right. Not me. Didn't see a thing. Okay, good. Thank you, Claire. Okay, so that tells you, some people have clear pictures. Some other people don't see pictures right away. Now, let's do a funny demonstration here. And Mayreed, thank you. The smell of chalk, fantastic, amazing. So everybody makes pictures, and I can guarantee you that. And so let's find the proof for this. Yeah, let's find the proof. We're gonna actually do another drill. Imagine that you're back in your favorite chair in the living room at home where you grew up. Yeah. So let's say you're going back to your parents' place in the living room. You probably had a chair where you would normally sit. So imagine that you're sitting there again. Imagine that you're sitting there again. And now let's look around and do something funny. So what I want you to do is just point out with your index finger the objects that I'm going to call for. So what I want you to do from where you're sitting, just point toward the TV. If you had a TV in the room, try to locate it and say, well, my TV is right there. All right. Now, if you have that, find a table, any table. From where you're sitting, point toward the table. Well, I would have one right in front of me. I would also have one in the back. Okay. Now let's find a window, any window. Just from where you're sitting, just point it out. Where would you see the window? And then finally, let's find the kitchen. Where would the kitchen be? I have one behind me. So now, so my question here to you is, were you able to point out these objects in your room? Were you able to actually point out the objects in the room? Okay, Alan, yes. Kyle, yep, good. All right. Anybody else? How about, let me see. How about you, Claire? Were you able to point out the objects in the room? I'm curious about your answer. It's kind of like, maybe you don't really see the objects, that's possible, but probably you know where the table would be, where the TV would be, where the window would be, where the kitchen would be. Yeah. How about you, Grace? Did you have an idea where to locate the TV, or where to locate a window, where to locate a kitchen, where to locate a door, for example? Okay. And how about if you would do that for not the current house, but the house you would live before? Would you be able to pinpoint where the things would be? All right, Claire, that's good. So you could see some objects, right? And Grace, okay, you could definitely do that. All right, so maybe the house where you grew up might have been a long time ago. All right, now, so what are we looking at? I'm just sketching a body here. And your mind makes pictures. So we would call them mental images. Yeah. Now, not everybody has clear pictures. That's all right. That's fine. You could actually do processes to improve your memory. It's not really hard. It's very light to do, and the improvement could be quite significant. That you can make improvement on improving your memories, that is a certainty. So you probably could see that these pictures are three-dimensional. Why would I say three-dimensional? Well, let's say you're looking at primary school. Maybe you could sit again in the classroom, or imagine yourself on the courtyard, and you could actually say, well, the school building is over there. The exit was over there. Or like sitting at home, you would say, well, if I would be sitting here, then the TV would be over there, and the kitchen would be over there, and the window would be over there. In other words, you're looking at a 3D image. Now, so your whole mind could be sketched like that. This is a tremendous amount of pictures. So you've been recording these pictures all the time. And I think it's estimated we make about 20 pictures per second. So that's quite a bit, right? So you have millions and millions and millions of these pictures. Now, so that would be your mind. So how do you use your mind? Well, let's say I got my keys here, right? And I dropped my keys somewhere. And now I'm going to go to different rooms. Let's say I'm home. I just got home. I put my keys somewhere. I'm going to different rooms. And after 2 hours, I realize that I actually have to do some shopping. So it would be a bit funny if I would just go about the entire house, all the rooms, just to find my keys again. And most likely you wouldn't do that. What would you do? You would consult your pictures, you would consult your memories, and say, hang on, what did I do? I got home and I went through the kitchen. Ah, that's right. I put my keys on the cupboard. And so that's how your mind would work. Your mind would tell you where to find your keys. Okay, so now here's the crack. You did not say the TV is over there in my head. The kitchen is over there in my head. The window is next to my temple. The table is in the middle of my head. You didn't do that. You pointed out about you, right? So here's a funny question. That's my next question to you guys. So who or what is looking at these pictures? Who or what is looking at these pictures? Maybe you want to share it in the chat. Who or what is looking at these pictures? And you can guess. You can make it as free as you want. Maybe you have picked up something from other books. Maybe you have, I don't know, read something on the internet. Maybe you have your opinion about it. Just pop it in the chat. What do you think is looking at these pictures? So Kyle, you give an answer already? All right. How about Claire and Grace and Mayreed and Alan? What do you guys think? Grace, ourselves, okay, cool. All right. Well, let's go with that answer, ourselves. Well, let's just say it is you. So what do we have right now? We have something very interesting. We got man essentially divided up in three parts. We got the body, we've got a mind, and we have you. Now it's very interesting that you intuitively know that a mind is something that you have. You would say, well, I have good memories from whatever, right? And you know intuitively that a body is something that you have. You would say, well, this is my hand, and this is my arm, right? And you would say, my arm hurts. So you kind of like know that there's something that you have. You seem to be something else. Now, my question to you guys is what? So we just looked at pictures. They're three-dimensional. So what do you guys think? Are you your body? Or are you something more than just your body? That's my next question. Are you your body? Or are you something more than just your body? Grace, okay, more than your body. Thank you. Anybody else? Any opinion? Feel free to share. Kyle, an awareness, intelligence. Wow, that's quite an answer, Kyle. I like it. Okay. So Mayreed says a spiritual being, something more. Okay, good. Now, so I don't think we're going to elaborate on that. I just wanted to pose the idea that there is more to know about you. Are you an intelligence? Well, if you put your keys somewhere and 2 hours later you can just use your mind to, kind of like find your keys again just by using your pictures, that is definitely an intelligence. You're also an awareness, right? You're aware of the voice that's coming from me to you. In other words, the sound. You're aware of the temperature. You're aware of the space around you. You're aware of your position of your body. A lot of things. Good. Now, we're not going to go into this. It is just that I'm trying to get across. It's a very, very interesting topic. There's a lot that you can know about yourself, such as what is your full potential and how do you attain it. By the end of the evening, I'm going to give you some hints to that, where you can actually do more study on this, more research. There's also a lot to know about the mind. And the body, we got to pretty much figure it out. If you want to study that, well, on average, it lasts anywhere between 70 and 80 years. You can do, I don't know, medical science and get to know more about the body. It's not super duper interesting when you compare it to these two. Good. Now, a question. Have you ever had to do, let's say, an exam or a job interview, or did you ever have to talk in public in front of a group of people and you felt uncomfortable, stressed? Has that ever occurred to you? Have you ever gone to an exam, had to speak in public, go to a job interview, something like this, and you felt stressed and uncomfortable? Has that ever occurred to you? Okay, so I guess a lot of people have actually experienced that. All right, now, okay, so here's the key thing. did you want to be stressed or nervous at that moment? So did you actually choose to feel that way? Kyle, no? All right. Anybody else? Grace, no? Alan, no? All right. Okay, good. I got you guys. Thank you. So what is happening here? There's something there. There's something there that controls your body. And there's a part of your mind that stores pictures. And that's where you have all your bad experiences. These bad experiences, they can be triggered, and they can control your body without your will. Now, let's see how that works. Let's say you go and you do that job interview, or you do that speech in public. And what happens? This here, it starts to control your body. In other words, there's a part of the mind there that starts to control your body. What happens? You're there, and all of a sudden, you start to sweat, to transpire. You start to smell. Your legs start to feel like spaghettis, no strength in there. All of a sudden, you have a dry throat, and you get this awesome, these awful butterfly feelings in the tummy, right? So it controls your body. Now, the funny thing is, also it controls your mind. Maybe you had studied the whole thing that you wanted to say, and all of a sudden there's a shut off here. It seems that you can't really access your memory. It even controls your purposes, because maybe before you actually wanted to do something, and now you feel like you shouldn't do it. Yeah. So by the end of the evening, I'm going to tell you what you can actually do about that to be more in control yourself, and not have something random controlling you. Good. Why am I telling you this? Because we're going to address human behavior, and so human behavior is obviously it's a bit of a funny thing, right? You can probably remember that you did something and you regretted it later. And there was something there that impulsed you to do it, and then you regretted it. Yeah. So in other words, it's again that control. It controlled your mind, your thoughts, and controlled your body. Yeah. Maybe you did something stupid and then you regretted it. And then you said, you know what? I'm never going to do this again. And then what happened? You did it again. You couldn't stop yourself. And likewise, the opposite is also true. That maybe you really wanted to achieve a certain goal or a dream or something. You really wanted to do it. And every time when you made a move in that direction, some butterfly feeling came in and said, oh no, I have to do it another time. I don't feel good about it now. So you get all kinds of funny situations in human behavior. And we're going to have a bit of a closer look. So I'm going to wipe this out. I'm going to give you another example. So just in between, do you kind of like this subject so far? Are you tracking with these pictures about the mind? Is it interesting? Just out of curiosity, see if we're tracking. Kyle, okay, yes, good. Thanks to. Thank you for letting me know. Grace, nice, okay. And I see that we have Zara, who came in probably a little bit later. Welcome, Zara. Great to see you. Great to have you. Okay, good. So we're gonna take these pictures, this mind thing to the next level. Let's imagine this situation here. So here we have Joe, right? And this is Marie. It's 8 a.m. in the morning. It's prior to going to work, right? It's prior to going to the office. And what happens is that Joe and Marie, they have a horrible quarrel. They have a terrible disagreement, and now they're really shouting at one another. It becomes very, very irrational. It becomes very charged up. So Marie now goes to work. And there she is, sitting on her chair. That's her computer. So my question to you guys, let me put some time here. Let's say this is 3 hours after the incident, yeah? So that's at 11 a.m. Now, what do you think if Marie is the average person, the average Marie? What do you think, where would her attention really be? We're talking about the word attention. Where do you think most of Marie's attention would be? Would it be at her work? Or would it be at that incident in the morning? Grace, the fight. Okay, your attention will be stuck on the argument. Thank you very much, Kyle. Everybody's so fast tonight. That's good. I like it. Very nice. Thank you, guys. Claire, okay, yes, at home. Okay, so then what are we looking at? Well, so we just learned anything about pictures, right? So what happens here? So her attention would actually be stuck over there, right? So are you with me that her attention is actually stuck on her pictures, on her memories? Would that make sense? Is her attention stuck there on her pictures, previous experiences, the memories? So in life, that can happen. Just a quick question in between. Maybe you've had this thought at some point where you would say, you know what? If this thing, if this incident wouldn't have happened, my life would be better today. Have you ever thought such a thought? And you said to yourself, you know what? If that thing wouldn't have happened, my life would have been so much better today. Have you ever experienced something like this? If a certain circumstance, if a certain happening, it happened to you, and all of a sudden life was different. Life was no longer the same. And maybe you had that thought, like, gosh, that wouldn't have happened to me. I would have been better today. Yeah? Kyle, okay, yeah, good. Everything happens for a reason. Makes sense. Grace, yes. Alan, more than often. Thank you very much. Sarah, yes. So what I'm trying to tell you is that your attention is still stuck on it. Your attention is still stuck on it. There's maybe a loss or something like that, or a potential loss, an impending loss, or a real loss, some suffering has happened there, and it still has an effect on you. So you come back to that control mechanism that I just showed. Maybe you think back of the moment, and you might get upset again. You might get sad again. You might feel the emotion again. You might feel angry about it again. Yeah. So actually, you can do something about it, because it feels like, some life has been taken away from you, and I can tell you, it can be handled, and all that life that was kind of like taken away, you can actually have it back. But now, so you have a bit of an idea about the mind, about how attention works, and we're actually going to have a look at a person that is commonly known as, for example, the narcissist. And I'm just taking a very, very general piece of nomenclature here, because it's a word that many people know. It's not actually very, very accurate, but people can think with it. And what I mean, it's not exactly accurate. I'm going to define for you what is the narcissist and why it's not really accurate. So, a narcissist. All right, so there's the definition. You can just look it up on the internet. So the definition is somebody with an inflated idea about his own importance. So, well, do you think you're important? Well, I certainly do. There's nothing wrong with being important, right? You're taking care of your family, so that means you have a certain importance. You're taking care of your kids, you have a certain importance. It would be really bad if you say, I'm the nobody, I'm no good for nothing. Don't look at me, I'm not important. I'm just trying to tell you, everybody's important. Yeah. Now the whole thing with this idea here is that there's somebody who's got an inflated idea, makes himself way more important than he really is. But the thing is that we're not really dealing with this type of personality that gives us the emotional ups and downs, right? When we're dealing with people who give us the emotional ups and downs, we're not dealing with somebody who simply has an inflated idea about himself. What we're actually looking for is somebody who has some destructive tendencies. And so these destructive tendencies, that whole idea is completely missing in this definition. Now, this definition is an old one, so it became so common and so general that it's being used for, well, the psychopaths on the planet, saying like, well, the guy's a narcissist. Well, there's quite a difference between a psychopath and a narcissist. Yeah. So we're actually going to have a look at real emotional abuse, and the person who's inflicting that kind of stuff on others, it's actually good to see what is going on in his or in her mind. Hey, Misha van Halen. Okay, well, fantastic. Hey, it's nice to see you, dude. Misha van Halen is one of my my fellow countrymen. So just wanted to share that with you guys. We've been old buddies, so I'm actually happy that he's following me now on Facebook. Maybe if I'm blushing, you know why. All right. So first of all, let me pop a quick question. Yeah. Who of you here has ever experienced emotional abuse, or who of you here actually knows somebody who has been abused emotionally? In the meantime, I'm going to take a sip of water. So Kyle, you definitely know somebody. All right. Clear? Yeah. All right. Alan, both. So I guess you kind of like want to know what's going on in the person's mind, right? Okay, so here we have, if you just go back to the whole idea about, we have pictures, right? Millions of them. Now, I'm gonna take another definition here, and so the emotional abuse it is caused by an antisocial personality. Personality. All right, there we go. So what is this person, this antisocial personality, what is actually happening to him? His attention is stuck on something. And that thing that is stuck on is always part of anything that he thinks or does. So let's say, we'll take just a funny example. Once you had a relationship with an Irish person, and it was a disaster. And then you said, I'll never date anybody from Ireland again. It becomes a stable piece of data in your mind. That's ruled out. That will never ever happen again. It's just your attention is stuck on something. You made a decision, made a conclusion, and that's going to be like that forever. Now, this antisocial personality, he was once under attack. So here we have the antisocial personality. He is surrounded by enemies. Let's imagine you're trapped on enemy grounds, and you're surrounded by the enemy, and the only thing that they want to do is just vicious, mean, evil things to you. The only thing they want to do is to bring you down. So there he is. He's surrounded by enemies, and he is stuck. He is stuck in that moment. And so this is the path And this is the present. But a part of his mind is still connected part of his attention is still connected. That situation has never really resolved in his mind. So that's the first concept I want you to have. The antisocial personality, the criminal, the narcissist, the sociopath, the psychopath, they all have something in common. And what they have in common is that they're stuck in a moment where they were about to lose the fight because they were under attack. And the people that were around him were now generalized in the sense that everybody is against me. Everybody wants me down or dead. He is stuck in such a moment. And this is the held down computation in the person's mind. Good. So how now does he look at other people? Let's say, let me take another color. So let's say you once had a bad experience. Let's say you were bitten by a dog, and after that you didn't trust dogs anymore. So now you have an automatic mechanism in your mind. The next time you see a similar dog, a part of your mind gets triggered and kind of like puts that memory back there, or the information back there, trying to tell you, watch out for the dog. In other words, you're going to look through a filter, and you're going to look through bias and prejudice. Basically, your mind is trying to tell you, get away from this dog here in present time, based on something that happened long ago. So that's where the mind makes mistakes. It confuses the moments in time. It confuses it right now with the past. It also confuses the locations. It confuses this location with the past location. And the antisocial personality has this very, very, very strong. He's confusing everybody with people in a past incident where he was under attack. Now, like I said, or like we started with in the beginning, we might be spiritual beings. So this incident could actually be quite old. Now, there's scientific proof for this. So I'm not just going to give you some kind of an opinion. There's actually scientific proof for this. If the guy gets cleared up and his attention is free, totally free in present time, he will not dramatize this whole idea. So, but what happens is that he has a bad experience from the past. Now everybody else will be seen through that same filter. That filter will always come in between. In other words, the antisocial personality, the psychopath, the narcissist, what have you, will always see you as an enemy. He can only see you as an enemy because that's what he is stuck in. He cannot really see your kindness. He cannot really see your love because he is fixated on something that happened long ago. And he's fixated on destroying people around you. His only mistake is that he identifies you with people from back when. He identifies this, so it is very, very irrational, yet he does. Now, he can be very smart. He can be very, very intelligent. So intelligence is not really importance important in knowing this. The main thing is that he's fixated on keeping everybody down. All right, so I'm going to give you an example, and it's a question at the same time. Let's imagine that you're on safari, and there's a water buffalo which is about to drown in the mud, and he can't get out of that mud by himself. And you say, all right, let's save the water buffalo. Let's get a rope and let's pull him out. So here's my question. Do you think that water buffalo will see you as a friend or as a foe? That's my question. Is the water buffalo going to see you as a friend or as a foe? You're out there on safari, there's a water buffalo, he's about to drown in the mud, he can't get out by himself. You throw a rope across his neck or horns, whatever, and you try to help the animal, you try to help him and bring him to safety, but what does he think? Does he look at you as a friend or as a foe? Okay, so thank you guys. Claire, Zara, Grace, Omar, yeah, he sees you as the enemy. He sees you as a foe. And it's an automatic mindset. Yeah, now the mindset of the antisocial personality is very much the same. The only way that he could actually survive this incident would be to beat the enemy. In other words, he would actually have to keep the enemy down. And his survival, this is very key, his survival depends on keeping other people down. Now, you will see this very, very, very much in society, in positions where people can actually be in power, such as in the military, in the police force, in government. You see this a lot. Now, how does this person treat you? It's kind of interesting, because let's say you're asking for a favor to him or to her, and he or she didn't do it. Now, as a result, you lost an important, let's say you lost an important job. He had to do something for you, he didn't do it, and now as a result, you had to eat crow. You suffered. Something that you were really counting on now didn't happen. So, everything that happened to you, it was totally unimportant. It was even deserved. It was ridiculous. That's his reasoning. Now let's turn it around, and he needs your favor, but you failed to do that. Now everything you did to him or to her, that was very important. It was very bad. It was irremediable. So you can actually see some very, very distinctive attributes. So I'm going to introduce a book at this point. It's a book from L. Ron Hubbard. It's called A New Slant on Life. And there's a whole chapter dedicated to the antisocial personality. Now, let me give you a quote. There are certain characteristics and mental attitudes which cause about 20% of a race to oppose violently any betterment activity or group. Such people are known to have antisocial tendencies. When the legal or political structure of a country becomes such as to favor such persons in positions of trust, then all the civilizing organizations of the country become suppressed, and a barbarism of criminality and economic duress ensues. This is what we're in right now, ladies and gentlemen, on this planet. This information here might be the most important information you will get in your life. When we trace the cause of a failing business, we will inevitably discover somewhere in its ranks the antisocial personality hard at work. Where life has become rough and is failing, a careful review of the area by a trained observer will detect one or more such personalities at work. It's important then to examine and list the attributes of the antisocial personality. You can actually recognize this person by its antisocial attributes. Let me give you one. So for example, such a person deals mainly in bad news, in critical or hostile remarks, in invalidation and general suppression. It's notable that there is no good news or complimentary remark passed on by such a person. Surrounding such a personality, we find cowed or ill associates or friends who, when not driven actually insane, are yet behaving in a crippled manner in life, failing and not succeeding. Okay, have you seen this? Have you observed people, for example, who are like, things are always bad, always critical news, never something really uplifting, and stuff like that? Have you ever observed this in people around you? Such a person never gives you a compliment, never really lifts you up, never really encourages you to do better, but just one piece of criticism after another. You seen that? Here's a question, huh? Have you seen this? Tend to give them a wide berth. All right, thank you, Claire. So we have, let me see. I'm gonna jump into the final part, which is how do you deal with these people? Now, first of all, in the book, you actually find a lot of information about the antisocial personality. It's quite a big chapter dedicated to it, it's a must-know. It's something that you really need nowadays in this dwindling society, I would say, because you need to know who causes all the turmoil, the chaos, and you have people who are really dangerous in bringing about a lot of chaos. You have also the less dangerous people that most people overlook, and they might be quite close around you in the environment. So therefore, you need to know by their communications, by their actions, how you can actually spot them and how you can handle them. Now, quick question in between. Does it make sense that in case of an emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, does it make sense to you that that person is kind of like stuck in a fight? He seems to be fighting with everybody. Does that make sense to you? No? Okay, Claire? So maybe you're more lucky then. How about a person that always tries to keep you down? Never really helps you to lift you up, to encourage you, to do better, to give you the feeling that you could be more, that you could do more, you could achieve more. But on the contrary, tries to dominate you, tries to sometimes gives you the feeling, even under the disguise of, I mean the best for you, but I don't think you can do this. I don't think you're cut out for that. Something like these type of commands. It can be very hidden. It can be very overt. Okay, so the first thing to realize is that the real antisocial person has no real strength. Let me pop you another question. Have you ever seen something like this, where one kid said to another kid, "And you're a crybaby"? Have you ever seen a circumstance like that? Somebody who accused somebody else to be something, and then you kind of like saw it going out of control. Okay, Sarah, yeah, several times. Good. So let's see what happens here. So here somebody says, "You're a crybaby," and then what happens was that one actually started to introvert. Basically, what happens was he started to look at his own pictures. And now something started to control this person's thoughts and emotions, and even controlled the body, because the body started to cry. So what happened is that this person here, let's say it's an antisocial person, has no strength at all. He's simply pushing here. He's pushing a button. He's simply pushing a button, and he's pressing the button. Something triggers, and the person does himself in. So, for example, let's say you come home, and you say, "Honey, have you seen my keys? I kind of like lost my keys." And now if you're dealing with antisocial personality, he might say something like, "Well, yeah, this is typically you. You always lose your things," right? So now you might actually have a look at yourself, and you might feel really bad with this comment. "You always lose your things." And you might actually start to look at your own memories and say, "Gosh, yeah, I think he's right. It's not the first time I lost my keys." And so you actually did yourself in. Yeah, this person has no real strength. All he's doing is he's manipulating your mind, and you cause yourself to be on an emotional roller coaster. So whenever you're in contact with these people, you will be doing ups and downs. All right, guys, we're about to make it at 9 o'clock, so I don't want to take all of your time. Now, what we covered tonight was a bit about the mind, a bit about human behavior, as you can understand. Obviously, we could talk about this all night. There's so much stuff. It's so fascinating. You could talk about this all night. There's something I wanted to share with you, and normally after every webinar we have a fantastic special. The special is in Newsland on Live, L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, Newsland on Live, and another booklet which is called the Emotional Tone Scale. So now, what can you actually find in this book? So imagine you're going to school, and you're nicely learning how to be a bookkeeper, or how to become a doctor, or how to become an electrician. or whatever. You go to school and you learn stuff. But all the stuff that you learn is basically how to do a job. You never learn anything about knowing who you could trust. You never learn anything about improving your communication skills, or how to improve relationship skills, how to make optimum choices in your life, how to really find out what your goals in life would be, how to be more organized, how you could be more efficient, and so on. So let me see. Okay, there's some texts going on here. Okay, clear. Yeah, we can have a private chat. Now, what can you actually discover in this book? What can you actually discover in it? Now, maybe you would like to know why a person becomes unhappy and how you can remedy that. Well, you can actually find it on page 10. And here's an interesting one. What are a few of your capabilities and potentials that are in a state of forgetfulness? Would you like to know that? Would you like to know what are a few of your capabilities and potentials, but which are in a state of forgetfulness? That is actually on page 27. Now, how do you restore your full potential? And you can find that on page 75. How do you raise understanding between you and another person? In other words, improve relationships. And you'll find that on page 91. What are the exact characteristics of an antisocial personality? That's another one. In all, there's like 15 different chapters in the book. And so that book is normally 17 euros. What we have tonight is we have another special. There's this book that comes as a gift, as a promo. It says the emotional tone scale. And it basically gives you a tool to predict the behavior of any person you encounter. It's based on a scale of emotions, and all of us, we are somewhere on that scale. Now, with the scale, you can actually predict somebody's, let's say, somebody's health. You can predict somebody's honesty. You could predict somebody's sexual behavior. You could predict somebody's courage. You could predict how easy it will be to be on the same wavelength. In other words, to share realities. It's fascinating stuff. Now, this one, the theory here, plus the theory on the antisocial personality, will give you all the tools to know what you're dealing with in life. And like I said, it might be the most important information for you to have, because whoever you're dealing with, there's people with good intentions, there's people with bad intentions, and we live in a society where people wear masks. They don't really reveal their true intentions. So you need to have some data on discovering these people. So we have this fantastic offer tonight, 17 euros for both, including shipping. That's my offer to you, in case that you say like, okay, I'm definitely triggered. I want some more, and I do want to improve, because this data actually is data you can use for yourself. You could also definitely help somebody who might be roller coastering in life, who was failing, who was not succeeding, who was having a lot of blunders, mistakes, sickness, for example. That data comes in spot on. I'm gonna just drink some water. There's a link that was just shared in the chat. I just want to invite you quickly to have a look at it. Well, maybe it's something that interests you. So Claire, yeah, interesting question. Do they recognize the traits themselves? Actually, they don't. The thing is that if you have been under attack, and if you see everybody else as the enemy, then you cannot be wrong. Only the enemy can be wrong. So everybody else is wrong, except themselves. They will never take any responsibility for any mistake. Like I said, there's a ton of information on this, and so these two books, they bring it in a very, very concise manner, very easy to digest, and it's so practical that actually by reading you recognize things right away and say, oh my gosh, I actually do have such people around me. Can they be cured? Yes, they can. However, they can't really have friends, and they don't trust everybody. So they're not likely to come in to be cured. And the whole thing is, obviously, they don't want to be cured because in the first place, everything is wrong with you and not with them. But the whole thing is that if you have been in a business relationship or in a social relationship or in a family relationship with such a person, then most likely you've gotten some emotional scars from this. And if you're a social personality who likes to help others, then of course you are way more valuable to get you in a better condition, right? And to get you to flourish and prosper in life. Because if you have social tendencies, if you want to help, then you deserve to do better. I hope you agree with that, right? Now, like I said, the book is going to give you like 15 different chapters on improving relationships, on knowing who you can trust, on being more efficient, getting more done, being better organized, find your goals and purposes in life. We'll give you tools on how to make optimum decisions in any given situation. So it's actually one of the most amazing books you could actually buy right now in society. I'm still here for a couple of questions. Anybody has any question before we end off? Final question to you guys. Do you get something out of this tonight? Was this somewhat helpful? You can just type any answer, and for the next time when we do this title again, maybe I might change the script. I'm just curious if you get something out of this. Grace, okay, that's nice, a lot. Great. Happy to hear that, Grace. Nice. And another question. I'm quite busy, to be honest, and I'm sure all of us are. But maybe after tonight, maybe you want to have a more personal conversation. Maybe something that that's going on in your life that you're dealing with, and maybe you're looking for some answers. So if you want to have like a personal conversation, I'm definitely willing to make some time for you. We could either chat and do a Zoom call. We could do a WhatsApp call. If it's in Ireland, we could do a direct call, whatever. But if you want that, yeah, I'm definitely willing to help you and pass on information if that could help you to resolve the situation that you're in, and also to improve your condition, right? So if you would like to have a personal chat, feel free to say yes in the chat. That's all you need to do. Most likely we have your numbers already from Zoom. I'm more than willing to give you a ring, to reach out to you by email, by WhatsApp, whatever you prefer, and we can definitely have a talk. Yeah. So, Sarah, you have such a nice name. Where are you from? Because you just jumped in. You just jumped in later. So maybe you want to share with us where you're from. I'll be happy to know. Kyle, thank you very much. It's always good to have you. So you're slowly working your way through all your books, okay? I'm gonna let you in, guys. Kyle has been following these webinars already like more than 10 times in a row. He got a couple of titles. He's very happy with it. Okay, you're from India. Oh, beautiful. I actually love the ghazals. I love the old Indian music. I can have the more modern Bollywood style as well. But Lata Mangeshkar, Jagjit Singh, those are my favorites. All right, Alan. Nice to have you, man. I hope to see you again. Omar. All right. Absolutely great. Nice. And somebody else loves Indian food. Yes. You. Okay, guys. So we're gonna end off here. I took 15 more minutes of your time. I hope you enjoyed it. It seems that you did. We have another title coming up on Friday. It's a bit trickier. It's of course the time that you may want to be with your family. It's after work. It's when the weekend starts. Maybe you want to hang out in a cafe or something. If you can make it, you're welcome to join. If you can't, maybe another time. Either way, thank you very, very, very much for, all the chattiness and, the conversations. You kept the chat very alive tonight. I really loved it. I think you're a great audience. I hope to see you again. For now, have a great rest of your evening. And till next time, perhaps.